A couple of months ago, it was formally announced that Ram would make their triumphant return to NASCAR. Well, now we know one of the teams they will be joining, Kaulig Racing. Aren't they a Chevy team? Aren't they an Xfinity and Cup? Yes. Lots of questions are being asked, but Kaulig Racing will expand their operation to the NASCAR Truck Series. Kaulig has been in the Cup Series for a few years now. They have been in the Xfinity Series the longest, have been with Chevrolet their entire existence, I believe, have won on the Xfinity level with Chevrolet, have won on the Cup level with Chevrolet, but now they will be in the Truck Series for the first time, and they are going to be the first team back with Ram. I keep on wanting to say Dodge Ram, but Ram is now its own separate entity. So, Ram, it's a big deal for them to be coming back to NASCAR. That fourth OEM that NASCAR has been talking about for years now is finally in NASCAR. For right now, it's only the Truck Series. Obviously, we don't know the further plans of parent company Stellantis. Will Dodge make a return to the Cup Series? That's still to be determined. But obviously, there's a lot of questions about this. The details, who's going to drive it, all that stuff. And then ultimately, how is Kaulig still going to operate with two different OEMs under their roof? That's kind of weird in a sense, especially in NASCAR. So first things first, Kaulig said they planned on fielding 5 trucks next year. As to who the drivers are, we do not know yet. Now, I think this announcement was made at Daniel Dye's father's dealership, so Daniel Dye's already driving for Kaulig in the Xfinity Series. They already got a connection there. So he could drive a truck. That's a possibility if we're putting 2 and 2 together. As for the other 4, we don't know. It could be young drivers. It could be a veteran. It could be an all-star truck, like we see at Spire, like we've seen at Kyle Busch Motorsports in the past. So, a mix of drivers in a sense. Obviously, if you want that all-star truck, there could be complications with manufacturers. Like, for example, Kyle Busch has gone to the Spire all-star truck before. Kyle Larson, William Byron. Well, those are all Chevy guys. So how are they going to be allowed to run a Ram truck? Wouldn't Chevy rather than you guys get my point? But anywho, the plan is Kaulig is going to have 5 trucks next year. It's essentially its own separate thing. They have a separate social media account. I think Chris Rice during the press conference kind of talked about, because he was asked directly like, hey, you guys are a Chevy team in Cup and Xfinity, and now you're going to have Ram as a completely different manufacturer, and they're still going to be your manufacturer, your supplier for another NASCAR series in the same building under the same roof. Like, how is that gonna work? And he kind of explained it he used the comparison to Team Penske. Team Penske, they all run Fords in the NASCAR Cup Series, and back when they were in the Xfinity Series, they were Fords. But of course, Team Penske doesn't only run in NASCAR. They run in IMSA, I believe. They run in other endurance. They run in IndyCar. So not all the manufacturers are the same. So Chris Rice kind of made that comparison. I get what he's going for. He was kind of saying, look, the trucks, yes, it's a NASCAR series. It's a NASCAR connection. You think of all 3 together, but it's still a completely separate series. And then he referenced that IMSA is also owned by NASCAR. And once again, I get what he was going for, but it's a valid question. There's almost a conflict of interest if you think about it too much. In terms of, 2/3 of your team is going to be Chevy, and then the other third is going to be Ram. Like, I understand where the question would come from, where the potential complications, but it seems like they are going to appeal to both manufacturers, and there won't be any data sharing in a sense between the Xfinity and Cup program. Like, it's going to be completely separate in its own way. As I said, they got a separate social media account. They're talking about it as if it's a separate thing. It's a different business venture for Matt Kaulig. So yeah, it's and then you got to think about the other impacts on Kaulig Racing. And I want you to think about it this way. Kaulig Racing, if we simplify this all, Kaulig Racing, as of yesterday, fully 100% Chevrolet. But they're not the top Chevrolet team. They're not the second Chevrolet team. They might not even be the third Chevrolet team. So where they sit right now in the Chevrolet pecking order, in the Cup side of things, in the Xfinity side of things, it's not really satisfying for them, I would think, to just continue on with Chevy if an opportunity comes up to go join another manufacturer and kind of move up that ladder in terms of where you rank. Kaulig Racing was a championship threat in the Xfinity Series just a few years ago. Justin Haley made the Final Four. AJ Allmendinger won a bunch of races. I mean, I know Allmendinger was in the Final Four last year, but he only won one race. Kaulig only won 4 races last year, and 3 of those were SVG road courses. As I said, they used to win like 7, 8 races a year, whether it was Chastain, whether it was Justin Haley, AJ Allmendinger. The list goes on of drivers they've had over the years who have won all these races for them, but they've kind of fallen off. They've kind of fallen back a little bit in the Xfinity side of things. And then on the Cup Series side of things, they've won a couple of races with AJ Allmendinger. Now, no, they were nowhere near the level they were in the Xfinity Series. They weren't championship contenders. They weren't winning 5, 6, 7 races every year, but they were kind of on the border of making the playoffs. You know, I think AJ Allmendinger was top 20 in points one year. I think right now he's top 20 in points, but for the most part, Kaulig's kind of slid back on the Cup side of things. They haven't won a race in 2 years now, if I remember correctly. They haven't really done great outside of AJ Allmendinger. He sits 18th in the points right now, but you got to scroll down a little bit to find Ty Dillon in 32nd in the points. And last year, I think, who was their driver lineup? Hemrick and a bunch of part-timers. Like, they didn't really do great there outside of the super speedways and the road courses. So, point being, Kaulig's kind of in this place like, hey, we care a lot. We've invested a lot into NASCAR. Kind of not, I don't know if being stuck in a rut is a good comparison, but if the opportunity presents itself to go to another manufacturer, why would you not take it? Kaulig Racing, in my opinion, is the perfect team to take up this opportunity. They've got a team owner who is heavily invested, hands-on, cares a lot about the sport. Chris Rice, who's a president who oversees everything. They've got Ty Norris. They just went out and got Ty Norris, who's one of the most known executives in NASCAR, who's been all over the place, who's overseen some crazy things, who's overseen some big projects in his time. Why not Kaulig Racing? Why would they not go join a new manufacturer? So while this is currently a separate entity with Ram and it being a separate thing compared to their Cup and Xfinity operations, but you would think that the conversation will be had if Dodge is coming to the Cup Series and maybe the Xfinity Series. Why would Kaulig not start here to potentially get that conversation rolling and make the transition to the Cup Series if Dodge comes back? Now, this is all obviously leaning on if Dodge comes back to the Cup Series. I'm sure that Stellantis has had these conversations with Kaulig Racing. But once again, and if they stay Chevy, then I guess they can stay Chevy. But seriously, I think it's a great opportunity for Kaulig Racing to kind of expand outside of their current operations, to try something new with someone new, with Ram. And then, hey, if the day comes, if the opportunity comes to expand their operation in Cup outside of Chevrolet to go to Dodge, I think that's a great move for them. Obviously, once again, this is all speculation. This is all just kind of trying to put 2 and 2 together, but maybe 2 and 2 aren't there. And I'm just throwing things out there. But we got our first Ram team in the NASCAR Truck Series. Don't know if there's going to be any others, but 5 trucks for Ram with Kaulig should be fun, should be exciting. We have another news conference today in regards to Trackhouse. I think they're announcing a new driver. I don't know. I really don't know who could be in that Cup car. It could really be anyone. If we're making predictions, I have 3. It's either going to be Max Verstappen, Nicholas Latifi, and this third one, it's a long shot. I really don't know if it's going to happen, but Connor Zilic, those are my 3. I'm kind of leaning towards Latifi right now. I think it's going to be Nicholas Latifi. So once that happens, I will let you know. But yeah, News part one of the day. Check. Another news conference, and I think there's another one regarding the NASCAR video game. I don't know anything about video games. I got a friend, Grant, who knows a lot about video games. Go check out his channel. He knows what he's talking about. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said, we'll talk about other news. And then tonight, we're supposed to have a cup race.